Now, this ranking video is a little different from the usual ones because this one, we're talking about a core element of Piggy. That core element being the chapters, the maps, the core part of the game. There is a total of 24 chapters, 12 in book 1 and 12 in book 2. Now, that might seem like that's it, right? Only 24 chapters? But no, you're wrong. There's actually a few extra chapters. Those ones I'm talking about are the character focus chapters. These are chapters that are focused on a specific character, and it gives a little bit of lore and story or backstory of that character, or lore that's happening in the story overall. And there is a total of 7 character-focused chapters overall. So, you know what we're going to do? We're going to rank them all, from worst to best. Now, this list is obviously subjective. I'm going to be ranking them by personal preference and things I like or don't like about them. Gameplay will play a role in this, but story will also play a role in this too. And smaller elements of each chapter might make that chapter a little bit higher for me. So here we go, starting at the bottom. Now, to be fair, I don't think there's any bad character-focused chapters. There are just some that are just not as good as the other ones. So unfortunately, Distraction is in last place, but it's not a bad chapter, it's actually pretty good. This chapter focuses on Zizzy escaping the refinery after she gets scratched by the infected. She needs to cause a distraction, and over the course of the chapter, she goes more and more insane as she hallucinates more and more. She hallucinates Z and Zuzi trying to attack her, she imagines the TSP guards as sentinels that she needs to defend herself from, a lot of stuff. Right off the bat, this chapter hits you with a sense of creepiness. This is essentially the book 2 version of Distorted Memory. And you know what? This chapter excels at it. The map is distorted, twisted, and it's a really good design overall. A little bit better than the original Refinery map. And there's so many little secrets to discover about this map. And not just that, but also other elements of the map that just makes it even better. Over the course of the map, the screen gets darker and darker, which shows that Zizzy is becoming more and more infected. That's a really nice detail. The Mini-Team didn't have to add it in, but he decided to, and it's a really nice little detail. And this is way creepier than Distorted Memory, which I feel like both chapters are trying to give a vibe of. Overall, the map is just a really good time, but there's one huge downside. Just like the original Refinery map, it's very cramped, especially the maze area too. You can get cornered in that maze easily. And the story aspect is really good too. Once Zizzy escapes the refinery, Tio shows up, and he wants to give her an offer, but she refuses. Also, as a side note, I saw someone on Twitter point this out. I love how after Zizzy refuses his offer, he then starts just venting to her about his life, about how he was all alone and stuff. I think that's kind of funny. She's just like, yeah, no thanks, I don't want your offer. And he's like, oh, when I was young and quiet, I had no friends, and then I made myself a friend. Ooh, dark, edgy. I'm sorry, but I've seen so many Tio memes, I literally cannot take him seriously anymore.
Trick or treat. Why are you dressed like that?
Because it's my costume. All you gotta do is go to the costume store and say, make me look stupid.
Don't stand like that.
Well,
that's the
how you
problem.
stand.
That's not how I...
But overall, I do enjoy this cutscene, especially that final part between Zizzy and Pony. Very wholesome. Dude, please, just kiss. We really need more Zizzy and Pony moments together, dude. They're very underrated. I really hope for this upcoming winter chapter this year, I really hope we have Zizzy and Pony come back. I would do anything for them to come back for at least one cutscene. That would be really nice. But overall, Distraction is pretty good. It's not too bad, but it's not the best chapter either, so it's pretty good overall.
And I have serious short-term memory loss.
Jeez, I'm gonna get some heat for this, for putting Distorted Memory above Distraction, but there's a good reason. That reason is a slight nostalgia bias. Distorted Memory is a really fun map. It's one of the best Book 1 maps in my opinion. And I think if we're talking about design-wise in Book 1 maps, Distorted Memory does take the cake. This chapter involves Georgie having a nightmare of leaving the house after his family becomes infected. And I'm pretty sure this is the first introduction to the insolence in the game. Now, this map is a very well-designed map for a early Piggy chapter. I love the blue lasers and that whole extra room, everything. And there's some nice little Easter eggs in this chapter too, such as messages being written on the pictures, and the red eyes you see in the backyard. Is that Tio? Is that someone else? Probably wasn't Tio since, the instance wasn't planned out when this chapter released, but who knows? And there's some nice little events too in this chapter. I love the weird coffin thing that you put the toys in that grants you the white key. That's super unique. I wish they added that to build mode. And nostalgia does kind of play a role in this chapter since, it's the first character-focused chapter. I loved this chapter when it released. And since it's a nightmare that Georgie has, this is probably the most realistic character-focused chapter in the game. We can all agree that Distorted Memory is just a better version of House. And the ending cutscene. The ending cutscene had a lot of people talking, and to this day I still don't really understand what it means. It had me thinking that Georgie was going to become infected in chapter 12, but you know what? He didn't. Overall, Distorted Memory is a really good time. I like this chapter a lot, a little bit more than I should.
But we stole a balloon.
Yeah, on Free Balloon Day.
Next up is Heist. Heist is a pretty good one, and it's pretty unique. This chapter takes place before the infection. It follows Willow and her friends trying to get a pie for her brother William, but there's a catch. They're stealing it. So the chapter overall involves Willow and Pony breaking into various buildings in the alleyway, attempting to get into the big main room and get the pie, all while being hunted down by Pulley, and you gotta avoid him so you don't get arrested. Now this chapter does follow the generic Piggy formula, but it's so much different due to not being chased by a zombie, but being chased by the police who are here to arrest you. It still follows the formula of being chased around by one enemy, but it feels so much different since it's being chased by an actual person who's not infected. Another thing I love about this chapter is the little teamwork aspect, such as getting the crowbar for Rash to break in one of the buildings, and getting Billy a giant dumbbell so he can break into the other building. And since this chapter takes place in a map we've already played in, it has various expansions, just like the other ones. The map expands by introducing 2 new buildings, but it also de-expands. Did I say that right? De-expands? By not being able to go into Daisy's TV's shop. But once you give Billy that dumbbell and he breaks into the core building, that's when the real heist part truly begins. You gotta unlock this hallway and then get some spray paint so you can spray the lasers, so you'll be able to see them. Then you gotta do this really easy obby to get the pie. Then once you retrieve the pie, you gotta do nothing else but just go back home and give it to William. So that all seems fine and dandy, right? But no, we're then introduced to one of the saddest, most depressing cutscenes in this entire game. Willow comes back to see William just gone. He ran off. He's gone forever. Truly one of the saddest moments in all of fiction. We're then introduced to a montage of what would happen to Willow after that, and what she did once the infection started. We also see how she met Tigray, just met him in an alleyway. We then see how when Pony was in TSP, he was the one who infected Doggy. I thought it was Mr. B, but we were wrong. We then see Pony leave TSP, and he goes back to none other than Zizzy, which makes me really happy. Then it flashes back to chapter 11, where Willow sees Daisy infected. Pretty sad. But overall, Heist is a really good time, really fun map, and I always enjoy playing it. Really nice cutscene, everything.
Wanna hear a tiger roar?
Next up is another absolute banger, Breakout. This one focuses on Tigray. This one involves him and his friend on a military mission, and they have to break into this random building. All seems fine, right? Well, Tigray kind of falls underground, and he has to find a way out. Now, this one's leaning more into the horror aspect. Tigray's searching through this facility, and the entire time he's being chased by this monster, Umbra. Now, to start off, Umbra is a really interesting enemy. I think it's one of the most unique bots in the game. It usually patrols like a normal Piggy bot, but it can also crawl into the ground and hide in the ceilings. And the sounds this thing makes are really creepy. It makes really weird growling, screechy sounds. Just listen to some of them. He's just a very creepy dude. But anyway, this chapter's gameplay is also very unique. While you play as Tiger, you go through 4 different sections that are flashbacks to his childhood or his past. You go through his old house, his old boot camp, his old classroom, all that stuff. And at the end of each one, there's a symbol that you can use in a code. And if you solve the code correctly, you'll be granted a weapon that you have to use to defeat Umbra. We then get a glimpse of Tigray's backstory, how his parents didn't love him, he was bullied in school, nobody cared about him, which is honestly pretty sad to see. He then runs away and joins the military. We then get back to Breakout, and it's revealed that Umbra was actually his friend. He accidentally killed his friend because Tio got into his mind. And now we're back in the present, after book 2. Tigray asked Willow why she cared about him, and she just said she didn't want to see someone suffer like her, which is pretty wholesome. You know, after seeing all the stuff Tigray's gone through, neglect and mind manipulation, all that stuff, to see him finally get a happy ending with Willow is just very wholesome. It makes me really happy that he got a happy ending. And I, for one, cannot wait to see what happens to Tigray and Willow in Piggy Misfits. Really cool. Really looking forward to it. So yeah, Breakout, really fun map, and this cutscene out of all the other cutscenes is probably the one that left me the most satisfied. Now this is, yes, I love Decay. It's such a fun time. Now, I'm pretty sure you all know what Decay is, but I'll just say it again. Decay focuses on Bunny and her journey escaping the metro after we left her. And it is just so peak. It's so great. The map is amazing. The cutscene is amazing. The models are amazing. Just everything. Everything's amazing. All the attention to detail. Oh my god, I love it. This chapter is so much fun to play if you know what you're doing. This chapter also leads into the horror aspect, but I don't find it that scary. I'm just more stunned by the amazing map design. I just love the entire way the entire metro is built. Minitune did such a great job building it. The puzzles also have a more Piggy-esque vibe to it, but it's nice because there's new and unique elements such as the claw puzzle. I will say this map can get a little bit tedious at times. The most tedious part is usually the maze where you have to turn off all the pipes. I found that part extremely annoying. But almost everything else makes up for it. One thing I didn't mention is Bunny's hallucinations as she hallucinates her family. She hallucinates her sisters and hallucinates herself being in other sections, which is showing that she's becoming more and more infected. She's becoming more delusional and she keeps just losing control of herself. There's also really cool stuff too. I love the decaying infected bots, they're random each time, and the chase with the rabbit monster is really intimidating and scary at times. I swear, the second chase just had me on edge the entire time. It's super suspenseful. The first chase feels extremely scary when you first start, and it just pops up out of nowhere because you've just been dealing with little smaller threats throughout the entirety of Decay so far. And the second chase feels even more suspenseful since you know you're about to reach the end, and you do not want to meet your demise when you're about to beat this chapter. And once you beat the chapter, you get that big sense of relief as you watch the end cutscene. Speaking of that end cutscene, wow. That's really good stuff. So basically, at the very end, we learn that Bunny was the one who was infected all along. And then she just gets shot by a random nobody. She just gets shot, which is pretty crazy. Didn't expect that to happen to Bunny, but here we are, I guess. But overall, Decay is one of the best chapters in the entire game. I love it, and it's not the most replayable chapter, but it's always a good time whenever I feel like playing it again. And then next up, we have Decay Part 2, Delirium. I think this one is the one that takes an alternate ending. I really don't know which one's canon or not. I honestly couldn't tell you. So there is so much to unpack through this chapter. I honestly do not want to go through every single little thing, so I'm just going to speedrun it for you. Amazing map design. There's multiple different sections. They're all modeled super well. Both that and Decay Part 1, they both compete. I can't really decide which one's better, but I will say Decay 1 had the better ending cutscene. I just thought it was better in my opinion. Amazing atmospheres, great enemies. I love the shadow monsters. I love the giant chasing hand, Skull, that guy. I will say the chase feels a little bit less threatening than the twisted rabbit monster ones from the Decay Part 1, but they both compete. They're both pretty good. This one's definitely creepier and scarier than Decay Part 1, but one thing I do think Decay Part 1 has over Decay Part 2 is that it feels like slightly more grounded in reality. Decay Part 2 just feels really crazy, really wacky story, but not saying it's bad, but I still love it. My favorite part is definitely the end where you have to protect your sisters, Mr. P, Gloria, and Sheepy from all the shadow monsters. It's really nice. That was probably my favorite part of the entire thing, all while being hunted down by the Chained. Really cool. Also the Chained, better reward skin too. Really cool. Really like Delirium. I'm sorry I kind of speed ran through this one, but honestly, I'm not saying it's bad. I just wanted to get through this one because there's so much to unpack and I just don't want to go through all of it. So yeah, Decay Delirium, really great. Okay, I know this is gonna shock you guys, but I love Mansion. Top 3 chapters for me in the entirety of Piggy. Fight me. This is probably the most perfect Piggy chapter in my opinion. Not just character focused chapter, but one of the most perfect chapters, well, ever. This chapter involves Z and Zuzi breaking into Old Man Eddie's mansion on one spooky Halloween night. Ooh, scary. Everything seems to be going fine and dandy until something happens. They run into his robot guard, Duo Kara, and then they realize they have to get out of there. So let's go over to the map design and the audio. That's what I want to go over. So the map design, amazing. I love the mansion design. It's so well made. Every single room has character put into it. Every single inch of this entire map has character put into it. IKEA did not miss with this one. Now let's talk about audio. The moment you start this map, you're greeted to a creepy ambience that feels somewhat childlike, which can represent Z and Zuzi, but also something sinister. Just listen to it. It fits the map very well, and like I said, it has a somewhat childlike vibe to it that can represent Z and Zuzi, you know, since they're children breaking into a random guy's house. And not to mention too, in the red room with all the red toys, there can be sometimes like there can be like singing heard in there, which is really creepy. It's like a rare thing that happens, but it's still possible to hear it. And we cannot forget, in the portal room with the wooden bed, there's this little lullaby that plays in there. It's a little bit off-putting, but it's still almost somewhat nice to listen to, somewhat calming and relaxing. It's just strange, and it makes you think, why? Why is that playing in there? That's so off-putting. Why is that random music just playing in this dark basement? That makes no sense. Now, let's get to the star of the show here, Duo Kara. Duo Kara in this game is so fascinating because as a bot, he's faster than Z and Zuzi, so you have to follow a mechanic. When his face is blue, they have to stare at him, and when his face turns red, they have to look away from him while running away. And even then, he can still pop up out of nowhere, which can give you a good scare, so you gotta be really careful. You gotta keep your eyes peeled throughout this entire chapter. This chapter always has you on the edge of your seat, in a good way. And then once you escape the map, you finish the map, and if you finish it on bot mode, you're awarded the Duo Kara skin. And then we get a nice little wholesome ending cutscene with Old Man Eddie being like, oh, just don't go in my house, yep. Just don't go in there, yep, okay. And then that's it. I love this ending cutscene, especially at the end where we see the Pony and Zizzy are together, even though it's before the infection. It's really nice. It was nice seeing them again after a little while. But overall, I love Mansion. I know people say it's a really hard chapter, but I kind of like that it's a bit tricky. And I can confidently say, Mansion is my favorite character-focused chapter in all of Piggy. And I am done preaching. Whew. Man. That's the video I've been trying to get out for a while. I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for my next big upcoming ranking video where I rank every single pig. What the heck? What is this? What is it doing in my house? What the heck? Finley from Piggy? I thought you were fictional. What are you doing here? Well, you see, Drew PK3, I'm gonna take you on an adventure. I need you to make me the most epic ranking video you've ever made so far, and we're gonna go back in time to make it. Dude, are you nuts? I'm going nowhere with you. Are you crazy? I know what you're thinking, but please, Drew PK3, if you do this for me, I'll get you a lot of money. I just need you to make this ranking video for me. Fine, I'll go with you. But where exactly are we going? Drew PK3, we need to take a blast to the past. I'm talking about 2020.